Did you already have your coffee? Did you already have your
Are
coffee?
you recording?
I am.
Oh, hi.
Hey, sister.
No, I already had my coffee, and I'm keeping away from it for the rest of the day. I had 2 cups this morning, and it was difficult to get the kids to school and back without an emergency.
Oh, oh. Do we have a Zara bag 2.0 situation? I'm
No,
just kidding.
I use
If you
my
don't, if
mental I
wait,
use
what
my mental
episode?
powers to relax my inner workings.
Are you trying to say I'm mentally weak? If you all don't know what we're talking about, first of all, welcome to the Sunflower Society podcast. We're so happy to be back. Apparently, we've been unapologetically hibernating.
I mean, we have not. We forgot that we haven't recorded an actual episode for like a month. We've been busy with a few other things. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But we're back. So wait, what episode was it that I told the
Cancel
story? Was
cancel
it?
culture and puppy love, I'm pretty sure.
Mm,
No, it's maybe the one before that.
I
I
think
don't
it was the
remember.
one before. I don't know, but there's a whole story about bathroom emergencies and
The Divine Porta Potty.
yeah, a divine porta potty situation. So if you haven't, go back and listen to the most recent episodes of 2021, like the past 3. If you're new here, we would recommend like the past 3 episodes to kind of get a flavor of who we are.
But all of them,
Um,
really. Listen to all of them. If you're watching on YouTube, we don't have any of the video uploaded for like our first 50 episodes essentially. No, not that many. Maybe like 45 episodes.
Basically, the first 2 years we were in existence.
Cuz we didn't get the fact that we could like, do both at the same time, but we got it now. So you can go to Spotify, Google, or Apple and listen to our first 45 episodes ish, and then now we're going to be consistently sharing our video portion on YouTube for those of you who like to sit and watch our crazy facial expressions that we're told we have, even though we don't really know. We don't know how they
Like
happen.
that was a thumbnail.
My son told me the other day about how I looked like I was going to come at him the other day when we were having a conversation.
You
I was like,
definitely have
oh,
that look. You
I was like,
definitely
I
have that
didn't
look.
feel that way when we were having that conversation, but
Look,
I said, what does it look like? And he's
listeners,
like,
yeah. Listeners and viewers. Well, viewers. Listeners, we can't really describe it. So you'll
yes,
probably see it on whatever
indescribable.
cover image we land on for this episode. But this is what Kara does when she starts to get grossed out or really enraged about something.
I do.
You just did it.
I can't even feel it. It's such a problem. It really is it's really good for certain things, but it's also like
Like
this.
MMA fighting, or is that
No.
do you do that as like a nighttime thing, or I'm just
No,
kidding.
it's a problem because I do these things and I have to consciously, like, especially in a professional setting at work and stuff, when I'm talking, I have to like be talking and thinking at the same time about keeping my face very still and expressionless, because I can get my face just tells a whole different story of what's actually going on in here. Um, so
I've had I've
it's a
had to
blessing
work
and a curse. I don't
I've
know.
had to work very hard at this as well.
What is that? Like,
It
why
must be a
is that?
Gonzalez trait.
Our
I don't
mother for sure has it.
I don't know. Yeah, it must
Our
be.
our dad has a lot of ornery looks, I
He
think.
does, but it was funny because did you notice I'm not sure why I'm holding a pinwheel pen, but I am. But she did it a couple days ago when she said, "Uh-oh, are you about to rant, Grandpa Pablo? That's the same face Teeny makes when she's about to rant." So apparently he does. Maybe we just don't realize or pick up. I
Olivia
think,
said that?
yeah.
Oh.
And no, I've had to work very hard on it but one of my mentors always used to be like during meetings, she'd be like, "Fix your face, Justine. Fix your face."
Fix it.
Well, because I would start to be like as the presenter or somebody would be like telling us what we have to do, like she could see me being like,
You know, the mask has actually helped me a
yeah,
little bit.
don't. um well, so today I want to talk about, I don't know if you have anything specific, but I definitely do. Do you have some topics that, I mean, obviously, don't worry, we're going to go to the Petty Parlor momentarily.
We
Hold
have a
on.
huge announcement, and we are very proud of it. We're going to talk about it towards the end, but I can't say anymore. But I'm bursting at the seams to talk about it.
Um So, yes, so stay tuned because we're going to give you details about a super exciting announcement. I don't think it's even settled in for us yet. Like
No, I was
how
looking at all your
monumental.
work on the website last night, and I was like, this isn't even actually, I gotta tell you, at one point, I was like talking to my husband. I had looked up from what I was looking at, and I looked back down. I was like, ooh, like I hadn't really started looking at the portion I was. And so it was like the first time glancing back down, and it's like, ooh, this looks really cool. What's this? And I was like, Dinkleberry, this is our shit. Like, this is amazing. I was like, I'd buy this. What?
No, I thought the same thing when I posted a sneak peek on Instagram and I was like, "Oh, that looks so professional." I'm like, "Oh, it's ours. It's our new stuff." um No, so we'll announce that later, but we're gonna be walking into the Petty Parlor in just a few, so sit tight. And then we do have an edition of Go Sage Yourself, obviously. And in that this week, last edition of Petty Parlor, Kara introduced me to something I had not listened to. So we're going to get Kara's full reaction because in Go Sage Yourself today, I'm introducing a clip like she has not kept up with this particular current event. And so I'm very
Oh.
curious to see her full reaction. And then we'll determine if we're going to pass our stage. But outside of that, the topic I really wanted to talk about, because I am working on this dissonance within myself right now, is how do we be accessible to people
Mhm.
and open, but also have boundaries.
Well, that's the $1,000,000 question,
Oh,
isn't it? Good grief.
can I pay you $1,000,000 to answer it for me?
Sure.
If you can figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But before we even walk into the Petty Parlor, I don't know if you have anything you're obsessed with right now. I've kind of been obsessed with saying that word. I know it's overused. I know
Obsessed.
it's very influencery. Like I just made up a word,
I'm
influencery.
obsessed.
I'm so
Yeah,
obsessed.
I know what you
I'm
mean.
so obsessed.
With the
Um,
vocal fry. Yes.
yeah. Wait, do it again.
I'm obsessed, you guys.
But
No hate, no shade to vocal fry, but lots of hate and shade to vocal fry. Because I feel like it's not natural for anyone. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Go ahead.
I don't know. That would be an interesting study. Like, for example, do people come out of the womb
With
like,
vocal fry.
well,
Hey,
okay,
mommy, I need a bottle
I'm
because
gonna
this
use a
one is
caricature.
empty
I'm
and
gonna
I'm
use
really hungry right now.
Right. I'm gonna use a
Mommy.
caricature in the United States that most people are aware of. And that caricature is a valley girl, quote unquote, a valley girl from California or the West Coast. And all of us know, whether it's from sitcoms, whatever, it's a common stereotype slash caricature. Okay, well, what I always wonder is, like, either you were in an environment where all you were raised around were people who spoke like the Kardashians do,
Which is very
or
possible.
which is very possible, or do people come out of the womb like,
There's people
I'm
from the
obsessed
Midwest
with
that
this
do.
milk, mom. I'm
There's people.
obsessed with your milk.
There's people from the Midwest that have vocal fry, and I don't. That is definitely not. That's a learned. It's like developing an accent. I feel like.
Well, you
Um,
are influenced by the people you're around, obviously. Like I know over the years, like I very much pick up lingo or terminology depending on who I'm hanging around with.
But do you change the whole tone of your voice?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so either, but I feel like
Have I? I mean, have you noticed
I don't
me
know. I don't think so.
being like this some days with you?
Well,
That's how
anyways,
okay, sorry. That was a major sidebar, but I wanted to just share because this morning I almost put on my lip gloss and I'm like, "Nope, I'm gonna show it on there because I'm obsessed with this lip gloss right now." And it's Lana Lips. Kara knows I really like them, but it's called Lip Water Watermelon. Oh, are we doing ASMR now?
should I go get the edamame?
You can't hear it. Can you hear it? The lip gloss on my lips?
No.
But you saw them before. Lip water.
I mean, it's
Obsessed.
beautiful.
What I'd like us to do is have like a coin phrase for this segment if we're talking about things we like or products, and we could go obsessed.
Hmm. You
No,
can say it.
you're not going for it. Okay, it's fine. But
Should I pull out should I pull out the edamame? I'm obsessed with edamame these days.
you got me obsessed with it this past weekend. I have
We'll
a full
demonstrate
I
at
have
our
a big
next.
old bowl in my fridge. I've been eating it the past 2 days, munching on it.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make a video of how to eat edamame properly because
I
Justine
didn't
was like,
know.
I offered it to her last week and she was kind of giving me the side eye and kind of like wrinkling her nose up at it. She's like, I'll take one. I'll make one edamame. No, she didn't really say that, but she was like, I could give or take it. And I was like, what? How is this possible? So the way I make it is I steam it and then I put a little olive oil and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And it's
That's what I
like
did.
the best. And she's like, I don't really like food that requires a lot of like labor to eat it. Like it's a lot of like
Oh,
zero
wait,
return or
wait.
very minimal return.
With little payoff. I feel that way
Yeah.
about on the bone ribs.
But the thing about edamame, I think it's a very healthy snack and it kind of like keeps for me, I like texture and like it keeps me occupied while I'm eating, so I'm not as likely to eat as much. But
But if you
I there's
do,
a proper way to eat it.
it's
Like
okay. If you
do
do,
not
it's okay.
do not pick it open with your fingers and then pluck the beans out. That is not the way. I'll show you. I'll make a video of it.
Do it. I made a TikTok, but now I look at the cover of it and I'm like, wait, are people only clicking on it because I was putting this in my mouth?
Probably sickos.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Okay. So we're obsessed with edamame. These from our merch, this
Ooh.
sweatshirt, it's a boat neck, kind of almost 80s style off the shoulder. But it's also homage to Celia Cruz. I have 2 of them,
Show the
and
back, show the back.
I've been living in these sweatshirts. Now, I can't speak for the T version of these because I only ordered sweatshirt versions. So,
Ooh,
but
I
it's
love it.
just as cool. Like you could literally wear it backwards or or forwards. Remember when people used to wear inside out sweatshirts when that was a
Oh
thing?
my gosh, yes, I
Early
forgot about
90s
that. Whoa, we should
leggings,
bring that back.
stirrup
Stirrup
leggings,
leggings and what were those little
boots.
shoes called? Eastlands? Eastland? The brown shoes and you did like the little noodle on the side. They had like you had to like tie them so
Oh,
that the ends you weren't like tying it like a shoe. You had to tie it like do a little curly noodle
they were
and
like a
have
curly fry
yeah.
or the curled
Oh.
ribbon on
Yeah.
gifts.
So
Yeah,
I'm
that was
hearing
the
that
vibe.
I don't know if you can notice, but I'm kind of rocking the middle part, but not very well because you can see my grays coming through. I need to get my hair redone. But you are too. I hear that Gen Z is making fun of us
Roar!
because of side parts and skinny jeans, and I'm like, when did that happen? It
That's what
happened
I've heard
overnight,
floating around.
apparently.
And if you do
It's
look
not
at,
okay.
well, if you look at some of the influencer accounts too on Instagram, you do notice like I see Doc Martin-esque shoes. I see wide legs. I see crop tops. I
I like a
see
good wide
middle
leg jean.
parts.
A
I
middle
do
part.
too. Well, I always loved wide leg because I do feel like wide leg actually flatters my lower body more because I have a smaller waist and I have big thighs, big butt. So I felt like it was also always easier to shop for my true size in a wide leg style
Yeah.
because it it's more streamlined. Like it's
But I do love
literally
a good stretchy skinny jeans, so don't come for me. I'm still gonna wear
I
them.
don't
I
think
don't
they're
care. I
coming
can
for
rock them.
anyone. It's just an ongoing conversation, and it was something that I've seen people talk about on social media. My hairstylist, I got some color put in. But I told Kara when I was there visiting last week, even when I dry my hair, I kind of let it fall wherever. So it's interesting that I minimized my products I was using. So like there's only one type of curl cream in my hair right now. And so I don't know.
How
It's
many were
very
you using before?
2, 3. Because I watch these accounts, right, that give you the tutorials for retraining your curls and waves, and hydration is very important. But I also am kind of like, I kind of do whatever my hair wants, and I'm not super picky about, but I will tell you it looks drastically different every time depending on what products I use or and it how I even position my head when I'm diffusing it. Like, I don't know. There's a whole science involved. And so I don't know. I'm just going with it. But at first, I think especially if my hair is bigger, I think that the middle part works. But I don't think for every style. Like I definitely don't like the middle part for when I pull it back. Yours looks really good, but
Thank you.
you have a nice forehead.
Yeah,
You've got a nice dome.
it's big. Big frontal lobe. My frontal lobe
Okay.
is developed.
So the
Okay.
final thing, um, sorry, I'm getting the sage. I almost forgot. I did
Oh.
forget to set it out, but good thing that I record this right by.
Should we do the petty parlor first?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like we usually
Well,
do.
we're
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, but the final thing I was obsessed with will have to do with the sage. I
Okay.
just ordered it.
Ooh,
It's a USB chargeable lighter and
cool.
it's bendy for like candles, but all it does is you turn it on and then right, see the light up, and then you just hit the power and it has a zapper, like it just sparks it. It's
I can't have
beautiful.
one of those in my house.
Well,
Somebody
your
would use it
kids
as a
will,
branding iron.
yeah, but it's super cool. Okay, sorry. Obsessed. uh all right, let's queue up. Not only, again, Kara has not seen this. She doesn't even know what I want to discuss. It's kind of a funny one. We're not talking about a person, but sorry, didn't have my music ready this morning. Let's take a trip into the Petty Parlor. And today we're talking about a product, not a person, but a product. Kara has brought out the chandelier. We're ready to go. Let me get ready to share my screen here. Okay. So,
Oh, I've seen these before. I've actually looked at these to like explore.
welcome
I
to
know
the
what this
Petty.
is.
Well, you know what this is?
Yeah.
Welcome to the
It's a
Petty
little
Parlor.
sauna.
It's a home personal sauna. And let me just flip through these images here.
You can enjoy it in the bathroom, in the living room, and also in the bedroom. Well, what are you doing in your bedroom?
Well, there's a
Oh,
side
there's a place for your
pouch.
phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Or
there's even like holes for your hands so you can use your phone while
yes,
you're steaming.
yes. Okay, let's take a tour through this.
Oh my gosh. Why is it see-through?
laugh in my life.
I know.
Okay.
I would get one. I'm sorry, but I would. I'm
Okay.
actually now thinking about it
So you're
again.
in luck. And the reason I'm inviting that, like, this is why we're talking about this in the Petty Parlor. Mine is en route and is coming today.
Oh! Are you gonna do a video while you're steaming?
I mean, I think I have to now, but I really did investigate because the final Kara knows, and we
Safety
share.
explosion vent. That's not very promising.
I mean, it's a safety. It's a safety, so I felt it was good.
Oh, brother.
Let's just keep going here. See all the capacity, okay? You can open the steamer and you connect it to the sauna tent and
You can put
steamer.
herbs in
You can
there?
put oils and herbs
Herb
into an
box.
herbal box that goes like under the steamer, so you have like certain smells or certain detoxes with your body, and then you just connect the power and you turn on the steamer, and you adjust the temperature and time you want. And then I ordered a little bamboo stool because obviously I'm pretty tall, but the bamboo stool is literally like maybe 2 feet tall. It just folds open. But I
Okay.
also felt that that was the easiest way. Like if you're sweating, like you don't want like a cloth stool,
Right.
obviously, or an ottoman. And then final step, because I live in an apartment, I got like a round rug that's like 3 feet. It's a round circle rug, but it's also waterproof, that I'll put it on top of because I have carpet in most of my apartment. And obviously, if there is any type of, water or steam, you just don't want that on your floor. So it is about a half-inch thick mat. And I think I got that for like 18 bucks. No, I put a lot of thought into this. And
I'm
I brought
picturing
it,
you
I
in your
brought it, I brought it to the Petty Parlor because I knew you would make fun of it and have jokes. But now
No,
I'm actually kind of surprised because you said you would consider getting one as you're seeing,
I
even
have
as you're
considered
seeing these
I
images.
have considered getting I've considered getting like a cedar one, like the actual steam, like the ones they have at like gyms and stuff
Yeah,
sometimes.
I love it.
They're like standalone,
Yeah,
but it's like a dry heat. There's no actual steam.
like the
Um,
infrared.
yeah. I've
Yes, I
considered
looked
getting
at
one
one
of
like
those.
that and I really didn't want to spend that much money. I thought,
Yeah,
well, this was only
same.
$100. Let
But
me try it out. And it
it
had
is
great reviews.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see how yours does for you, and then I would definitely order. But the thing is, I'm kind of like, well, what's really the difference between that and like taking a bath type of thing? Like, I don't know, because I still like the sweat thing is still like I can get a good sweat going with a hot bath. So and I do that at least 2 or 3 times a week. So to detox wise, I don't know. Like if you'll have to tell me if this type of cleansing is different than a regular bath. Because I
My
feel like I generate the same amount of sweat in a hot bath as I do sitting like in an infrared sauna.
I don't feel that way.
Okay.
I've been a long time on and off gym goer. Notice all those words I used. Long time on and off gym goer. But I've usually held some type of membership where I would have access to that because I love sitting in a sauna.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it compares. I'm a person who takes a bath almost every day for just relaxation and unwinding purposes in the evening. I also have like a little bamboo tray for that and do reading when I'm in there, whatever. Um, but the reason I went this route, because I've looked into it and I use different waist trainers and things like that when I train, but I do think there's an extra element, and I've been eating fairly healthy for the most part, but I think there's an extra element to really like steam and sweating, um that like your full body. I don't fit fully in my back. Like I can't unless I'm like hunched down. I don't like my whole body doesn't even really get submersed unless it was like a big soaking tub, right? I I can't submerge my whole body in my tub because it's just a standard.
Hmm.
like size, which I think is probably what a lot of people have, especially if you live in an apartment or condo townhome. But I also just I like to mix things up. Like I've reached quite a few of my goals over the past couple of years with health and wellness, but I think that final step of like adding some other things to my routine, walks and things like that throughout the day, or my juicing, I don't know. I just think I laughed at it because it really does look so petty and ridiculous in these pictures,
It's
especially
like
this.
a snuggie for sweating.
Yeah, especially this one. Because when I first looked at it, I had to look at the dimensions like, okay, if I get a stool this height, will I actually be able to
That's
fit
just
in
like
there?
a picture superimposed into
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah.
think, but
It's
it's
hilarious.
hokey and hilarious, but I am curious to see if it'll work. If you
I'm
love it, I'm gonna love it.
surprised. I'm surprised that you've actually investigated this. I thought you would make
Yeah.
fun of me.
So the gym that I used to go to, I used to go in the infrared sauna all the time, and then
Yeah, me
it was
too.
like the only thing I was using, and that and the rowing machine and the bike, like the stationary bike. Or no, the elliptical is what I would go
Mhm.
use. But then at a certain point, I was like, I just love the sauna. I love how I feel afterwards. But then
Yeah.
people started using it so much, I could never get an appointment. So I canceled my gym membership.
Yeah, well, mine had the same, and obviously with COVID, we've all made adjustments, right? But also the other fact of that is, if you're really like, I really oscillated on which direction to go, but I'm like, no, I love the feel of this. But I had in my cart for a while. If you all look on Amazon, obviously there's some really high level ones for like 12, 1500, but they have like a walk in, like it could go in a corner of your
It's like
bathroom.
cedar. Yeah. It's
Yeah, and it's
very
around,
robust.
I think, 3 or $400 for the infrared. So, there's definitely options that you can bring your gym, and I have other like I have like little stepper elliptical in my small, I live in a 500 square foot apartment. So, if I can do these things, like I share that because I think that is one of the dichotomies with Kara and I. She has a lot of space, but I have very little space, but both of us have different practices we can, you know, implement. So, okay, that was it. I guess we'll leave the petty parlor slash sauna petty parlor. I'll keep you all posted, and I guess I don't know, comment below. Should I put a video here on YouTube of me
Yes, I
using
think you
it
should.
and
I'm
popping it
commenting
up?
right
The
now.
other thing I was fascinated by is the fact that it comes in a little bag, and those laundry baskets that just seemingly fold up.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I was like,
I
this
think
is
for
so
I
cool.
think you'll have to like let it dry out though and clean
Yeah.
it really well though so it doesn't get like funky. I could see the getting like
Yeah.
fungus or that's the thing I like about the cedar because it's very clean. It's easy to clean and it stays like there's no like pores really for microbes and stuff and bacteria to
My
get in.
plan is to only use it as well, like right after I get out of a shower or bath.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, and but yes, to your point, that's why I put in the thought of ordering like the round mat and like
So don't go
the
for
little
like a
bamboo
workout and
stool.
then try to go sit in your
No,
nasty
because
sweat
well,
in there.
because if you look at the size of it too, and that I just think it's also really funny. It has the little hood, and like I get it because it's for your face to also get the heat, but then there's a part of me that's like, "Ugh, my whole entire head is gonna get sweaty with that." But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I won't wear the hood. I don't, I don't know. Okay. All right. So that is the petty parlor. We're going to leave the petty parlor and step into a little segment that we call Go Sage Yourself. So, Kara, do you want to tell if we have new listeners as I cue up our music?
So, Go Sage Yourself is a segment that we decide if we're going to pass our sage to someone else for their use, somebody that might be in need of a little bit of sage cleansing, um, or if we're going to keep the sage but recommend that the person that we're speaking of goes and buys their own sage. Uh, we just sometimes we can't waste our sage on some situations. So
Sometimes people just can't be saged into help. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. That's also very true.
So I don't even know if that made sense. It sounded really profound and then it probably isn't. Okay, wait. What's that tank top you have on over there?
It says cornmeal. It's the name of a band. Cornmeal.
Oh.
Cornmeal in the kitchen. I don't even know. They're really good, actually. They're like a modern day bluegrass band. I saw them at a couple of music festivals and small bars back in the day. I think they're too big now. They play mostly Chicago.
Cornmeal's
And
just too big right now.
yeah, I don't even actually know if they're a band anymore. I haven't looked lately. Last time I looked was a couple years ago. They were touring in like Europe
Oh
or
no.
something.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
I said that on purpose, listeners, because I've seen Kara wear that tank top, and the first time I saw it, I'm like, "Why does your tank top say cornmeal?" I was giving her low key. I was giving her a hard time. Okay, so now we're using this lighter that I'm obsessed with. Let's see how it works. So you
Don't
press.
burn your hair.
Can you hear it sizzling?
Whoa, yeah.
It like sparks it in the areas you want to be sparked. Ooh, it's working. It's working, baby. It's working. Okay. We've got the sage going. Can you see? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this was a clip.
We also light this too so that we're cleansed as we're taking in the whole sometimes toxic situation.
Yeah, it's all in good fun, but to be truthful, we do try to we're cheeky and sometimes we can be really snarky because this is our creative outlet and we get to do that. But in reality, we do try to choose like current events that are sparking conversation, whether it be nationally or internationally. And also events that, quite honestly, obviously, we know. I think around 80 to 85% of our audience is female or identifies as female. And so, for many of you who are mothers, or if you're aunties like me, you're around kids. And a lot of times it is important to know what are the current events that are happening, whether or not you're really into the news or current events at all. It's important to know these hotter topics. For example, if you go back a couple episodes, we discussed JoJo Siwa coming out, right? Like those are things that they're going to be in the faces of our kids and they're just part of our world and our culture.
It's all
So,
I almost watch that kind of stuff because not so much I am sort of interested in it. But also because I don't want my first reaction to things to be in front of my kids necessarily.
right,
So I try to like if I know there's an issue that I don't know how to talk about, especially with my kids, I try to stay up and keep my response for myself to begin with so that I know how to process it and not react in front of my kids, I guess, when I'm talking about it.
well, and then you're also, I think I always really, really respect that about you, Kara, as a mom. You are, you're very careful to not force your kids into how to think or what to believe. And I think that that's very, very important. I know that some of you might disagree. Tell us in the comments if you disagree and why you disagree. Um, because some of you might believe, well, it's my job to mold them and teach them how to think and what to think. Um,
I
and
think it is our job
yeah,
to teach them how to critically think, but not what to believe.
well
Like,
said.
because I think you get to a certain point, we were taught very much how to believe growing up, and we had to, like, because of that, I think it makes me more inclined to do that total opposite with my kids because I know how
Mhm.
much undoing I had to do within myself at a certain
Right,
point and how much pain and dissonance that caused in my own life. Because really you
exactly.
can't impart the truth on somebody, and this has taken me years to realize, but no matter how you say it, I truly believe that only God can change people's hearts and minds at this point. Like I used to think that I could have an impact, and you can have an impact in the way you carry yourself and the words you say, the way that you say them. However, to try and mold somebody in the way that you want them to be is never going to work because God has always a separate plan, in my opinion. So
Well said. I 100% agree with you on that particular point. Uh, we'll come back to this actually. It kind of all fits nicely back to what I really wanted to talk about today, how to be accessible but also set boundaries. And I want to read an excerpt from something that has to do
Okay.
with exactly what you were saying about kids, and parenting and setting boundaries in that way too. Okay, so we'll come back, but we are in Go Sage Yourself. So this is a clip that The View showed the other day. It's a clip from Good Morning Britain, which is like Good Morning America, but in Great Britain. And the Meghan Markle discussion was brought up. I have not watched the interview yet with Oprah. Many people are talking about Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah, and lots of memeing going on, for sure. So we're not weighing in on their conversation with Oprah. That's not this edition of Go Sage Yourself, because I don't. Have you watched it yet, Kara?
I've watched bits and pieces. I have mixed opinions on it. I don't
Okay.
really know what to think, actually.
I haven't watched it, so I can't really speak to that. I have not watched it yet, so I can't really speak to any of that yet. But yes, so this happened a couple days ago.
She cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry. No. Sorry.
So, do you know what? That's
You can trash me, maybe not my.
No.
See you later.
I'm being.
Sorry, can't
This
do
is
this.
absolutely diabolical behaviour. I'm sorry, but Piers spouts off on a regular basis, and we all have to sit there and listen. 6:30 to 7 o'clock yesterday was incredibly hard to watch.
My goodness, Joy, he looked like us.
Okay, so we love you, ladies of The View, but we really just wanted to see the action, and I wanted Kara to see it because she hasn't seen any of that clip.
I don't like, what's the.
Supposedly the backstory is that the same timing that Prince Harry had asked out Meghan, supposedly she had turned down Piers Morgan. So supposedly he's like butthurt and super sensitive. Right.
What?
Butthurt
This is even
and
like in his mind, this is like a thing? Hello?
so Piers Morgan officially resigned though. And so he has made a bunch of different comments. Some people are saying that he's racist. Like I don't know. I haven't seen I'm just going to say disclaimer here. Like I haven't watched a ton of clips around this. This was the only one that I saw pop up from like the View's feed the other day. And I found it fascinating because this is a grown man who literally walked off the set, probably one of the highest paid reporters in the world, literally walked off the set like a 5-year-old.
I mean, he's just a person.
He is just a person. I look, he walked off, he resigned. He's obviously got a little deeper hurt than just having people disagree with his stance on Harry and Meghan leaving the monarchy. I when I watched the View's analysis, there it's also like there's this huge camp. It's I think probably 50-50 in Great Britain. 50% of people are still super pissed that Harry and Meghan have quote unquote left the monarchy, and 50%
He wasn't entitled to anything anyway, right? Like he
right.
didn't really have any real he's not going to have any real power even if his dad dies. It's all going to his brother. So like what's the point? It's just very restrictive, and unless you want that status for whatever reason, they obviously
Look,
for ethical reasons want to separate themselves from that narrative.
I still don't really understand the monarchy other than they're powerful. They have power.
It's a method of keeping things genetically pure. Literally.
So in essence, the very idea of monarchy and how it impacted obviously colonialism and colonizing, it is racist. I mean,
yeah.
Which is why people, there was one person who Harry would not name in the interview. I did see this small clip. that was asking, well, don't you think Archie's skin will be too dark?
Yeah.
Insane.
Mhm.
Insane in the
Good on them.
membrane.
I mean, that's how change happens. I mean, you have to be vocal and just say no. You know, like
Right.
like it's just not even acceptable for me. It's not going to happen. Like, period. You don't leave room for you can't leave room anymore, because otherwise people continue to take advantage of the same narrative. If you want to change the narrative, you have to change the narrative. Period. I think it's great.
So obviously Piers
So he's having
Morgan,
a hissy fit because he obviously doesn't agree with that, what I just said.
right.
And he believes what? Like, I don't understand. Like, so he's butthurt because he got rejected, and he also believes in this monarchical, is that a word?
Yeah,
Way
I think the premise of Great Britain or Good Morning Great Britain or Good Morning Britain, I think the premise of that and what he actually got irritated was like the angles they were taking. Like I think he blatantly disagrees with
well, good,
the
then he
fact
should
that
walk off.
that Meghan and Harry left the monarchy. And on top of
Okay.
that, I believe she rejected him on a personal level. Supposedly, those are the rumors.
Well, when Prince Harry, Piers Morgan,
Oh, look, I've had a crush
Johnny,
on the bad boy
Bill.
since he was on the People cover at like age 10. I was around the same age.
I like his red hair.
I just love his spirit. Like I've always felt like we're kind of doppelgangers in some ways because I think he also has a birthday close to mine. I just always felt like he's a cool person.
He is a cool person.
Point
He's done lots
proven.
of like, yeah, he's done lots of like aid work around the
He
world
stands up
that
for what
isn't
he
required of
believes.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he stands up for what he believes. I think
Now I will say Meghan Markle.
Markle.
This is Mark. Is it
Markle.
Markle? Oh, I
Markle,
thought
right?
Markle.
Markle, yeah.
Okay. Well, either way,
Duchess
I
Meghan.
watched just a little bit of the interview I watched with Oprah. I kind of was like, why is she doing it? Like, what's her motivation? Part of me wants to believe that the motivation is she wants people to be aware that of the whole monarchy system and like
Right.
the systemic racism
How
there,
she was treated.
how she was treated. But when you're high profile like that, I feel like, I mean, she did have an interview. She chose her interview with a very high profile person
Yeah.
that could help narrate what she was trying to say. However, I think when you're like, I have to just wonder about the motivation. That's all. Because I know there were some things with her, like she was seeking stardom before she got involved with the royal family. There's all kinds of back history with her actual, like her original family, and them not getting along for certain reasons. Like, she just seems like she's been in drama before. So I have a little bit of distrust there for her intention. Personally, I'm not saying they shouldn't speak out about stuff from that angle, but I always, with people that are like high profile like that already, and they're talking about a situation that could make or break them, I have to wonder if their intention is to bring more attention to themselves for their own fame, or what. So I don't know.
I don't think any of us could ever know unless we were the ones like sitting down with her,
Yeah.
right? And getting to know
Yeah.
her. So I think that that's also the tricky thing about stardom and people being in quote unquote the spotlight, as you feel like you know them, or we can sit here all day and pull apart what would be the motivation or why would they leave or blah, blah, blah. But none of us really know. And I think the closest glimpse you're going to get, even though it's still a performance, quote unquote, because it's a TV interview, the closest we are going to get is having somebody like Oprah, who does have a lot of trust and credibility,
but she's not like E! News.
sit there and ask them questions. And so in that regard, I think they went the right direction. I did see some debates on Twitter about the timing of it being tone deaf, quote unquote, because we're in the midst of a pandemic and they've chosen blah, blah, blah. Like, again, I feel about stuff like that when we dig too deep to try to look at like, oh, well, what's their intentions or why did they choose right now? I think it diverts from the essence of what they're standing for instead of just saying like, I'm just glad that they're standing up for what they believe in and they want the best for their kids, and being supportive in that way instead of picking apart, oh, well, they shouldn't have done it right now, or, oh, well, why, blah, 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 why'd they do Oprah? I think that still diverts from the overall message, which is the monarchy system itself is racist. We're not standing for it. And we don't care what it takes to make it known how we were treated in this process.
I like the
And I
conversation
love
because
that. I love that they're
it
doing
takes
that.
it takes the focus to a little bit off of the United States and adds to the conversation on an international level, so that the realization is there that this is a problem not just in our country.
Right.
Obviously it's a huge
Right.
problem in our country, but and it's even huger because it is not well accepted by everybody that it is a problem.
Right.
Number one, but number two, when you start bringing in other perspectives from around the world and on a global level come to the conclusion, hey, we have to fight against this. um it's not just us with our skin in the game on that level. I think it becomes a bigger, broader goal, to try to have that conversation on an international level, because
Well, and I think why there's still pockets, lots of large pockets of people who are not accepting that we have a lot of work to do in the United States is because in the United States in particular, there's a false sense of unity. Literally, the United States, right? Like there is a false sense of unity. And so I think that that becomes trickier.
for some people, I think for people that want to believe that it's not a problem, they feel that we are unified. But for people who believe it's a problem, I feel like I haven't felt as separated out or something. I don't even know how to say it.
Divided. I mean,
Yeah, I
divided,
haven't.
divided in perceptions, divided in life, divided in
And it's
understanding of the world.
like I want to be united with everybody because in general, I'm a peaceful person. Like I don't want fighting, I don't want anger, I don't want any of that. But yet I also can't necessarily associate myself anymore with those types of that toxicity. So whether that
To
means
just
distancing
openly
myself
deny,
from
to
yeah,
just openly deny, oh, racism isn't a problem.
yeah, to distance
Yeah.
myself from individual people has been necessary. Not that I want that, but at a certain point, again, if you feed into the narrative by lifting that type of conversation up, it just never changes. So you have to separate yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so as we consider our bundles of sage on this morning, with every head bowed and I'm just kidding.
Am I passing it to Piers Morgan?
The question is, will you pass your sage to Piers Morgan? Thinking of how he stormed off that set.
I'm fine with it. Like I'll pass it to him. I think he needs a vacation and some perspective. So I'll pass my sage. He can take it on vacation with him. He's about retirement age, right?
Good for you.
I mean, he has to be. Yeah.
Which is
He
also
can take
so
it into his retirement.
which is also so curious to me that like he was going
How
after
delusional
Meghan
are you
Markle.
that you thought that? Yeah. How delusional.
Narcissist match?
Well, just that classic, like egotistical, like I'm famous, I have money, I deserve whatever I
Kind
want.
of a colonizer mindset, if you will.
Yeah,
I have
weird.
power, so I can have anything I want.
Yeah.
So on that note, I will not pass my sage to you, Pierce, because you can afford your own. Carry on. Carry on, fine people. I'll be in the parlor. That's a really
Literally, he
bad
will.
English accent. So if you're from Great Britain, don't cancel us or judge us. Okay. And I've never traveled to that part of the world either. I've been to Europe, to Spain and France, but not, I've never really had a desire to go to Great Britain. don't know. Have you ever wanted to go? Your son really
Oh
wants to
yeah,
go.
I
Your
want to go
son
to the
wants to go to
English.
London.
I want to go to the English countryside. I have no desire really. Well, a little bit of desire to go to London, but I mostly want to go to the English countryside
That could be
because I think
cool.
that would just be really cool to go to some of the old manor houses and
Yeah.
see all that.
Okay. Well, so to the topic at hand, I think I've referenced this book before. It's by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And it's called Boundaries. I cannot read it all at once because every page is literally like an unpacking of your life history and going, oh, ooh, yep, I definitely do that. So it's definitely very deep. There is a workbook that goes with it. The whole like little ditty on the front literally is when to say yes, how to say no to take control of your life. So so it's a very much a self-help book, I would say. One comes from a little bit more psychologist background. I mean, they both do, and then one also has a spiritual background as well, I believe. But I just I'm struggling at times because I want to be a person who people know is very accessible, but I am also realizing as my company grows that I don't I don't always know how to balance being accessible and setting clear boundaries. That is my biggest struggle at times because I never want people to feel like I have shut them out or shut them down or I don't have time for them or they're not important to me, which obviously in our lives we have friends or family that are more important than others just because we're closer with them. So I'm not delusional in that respect, like, yes, every person I meet is my best friend. That's not what I'm saying. um it is how do we, and it's the same with kids probably, right? How do you make sure you're accessible but that they don't develop these very codependent, I always need you for everything mom type
Yeah.
relationships, because that's not healthy either. I
No.
want to read a quick passage before I hear your thoughts and weigh in, and it's on page 52 of the book. It says, when parents teach children that setting boundaries or saying no is bad, they are teaching them that others can do with them as they wish. They are sending their children defenseless into a world that contains much evil, evil in the form of controlling, manipulative, and exploitative people, evil in the form of temptations. Blocking a child's ability to say no handicaps that child for life.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about for life, but it sure is a lot of work to undo. And recognizing it is also painful. Getting there to be able to recognize that that is a problem is painful. And many people don't even get there ever because they don't even think
Right.
they don't think of it as a problem. They think they're doing something good.
They think they're being helpful. That's how
Yeah.
I used to think. I used to think, well, by saying yes to everyone and everything, I'm showing my commitment. I'm showing my loyalty. I'm being helpful. And I never want somebody to feel like I don't care about them. But meanwhile, running myself into the ground.
Yeah, no. I think you have to, again, when you're offering yeses at the detriment of your own self, it's never okay. Period. Even if somebody, I would go so far as to say, even if somebody is in dire straits, if you are also not in a good place, you can't say yes. That's,
Yeah.
you're not always meant to be the healing source for everyone.
Yeah.
Perhaps in that situation, God has somebody else in mind that would be better suited to assist that person, or you know
Or
what
if
I
the
mean?
timing's not right.
Yeah.
I did that a couple nights ago. One of my friends texted me and I saw it and it was like probably 7:30, but I was getting ready to take a bath. I had had a long day. Um and I had to text her and say, I really want to be able to listen to you fully but right now I'm not in a mind space to do that. That was still hard for me because literally, because of depending on how you're raised and the work you've done, and some of you know this, again, if you listen to the most recent episodes, like I had a friend, quote unquote, one of my closest friends of 10 plus years, who decided to break off our friendship this past summer out of nowhere, literally berating me with messages, didn't even call me, um, because she didn't like something I posted about Black Lives Matter. Essentially, that's kind of what it can be. And I think it's bigger than that, right? But I look back at those other friendships I attracted, and they were definitely that duality of Justine gives,
Right.
and is always there. It's always
If
there.
you're, yeah, if
But
you're in relationship with a person that expects you to say yes to everything, it's not a right relationship because they're
correct.
taking advantage of something. And it may not be conscious. I've been
Right.
in relationships with people that have been really good people on paper, but the way they use other people.
And usually it's because they were hurt, right? And I know with this person, she went through a lot of pain and a lot of hurt in her teenage years. And so I knew all those things, but I also had to protect myself at a certain point, and it panned out naturally that she self-selected. You're just not. But it's when I've been in my glow up, in my getting healthy and getting even more spiritually close to God, that's when that happened. But sometimes that's also an indicator, like, well, they can't go where you're going right now, and
Right.
maybe not ever with you, and that's okay, because God used them in your life for a season, for a reason.
Mhm.
But I was sharing that piece, Kara, because literally my thought process when I actually sent that text the other night, instead of just passively ignoring it, was then, "Ooh, I hope this person will still be friends with me." Because like that's hard to even admit and rectify that. I immediately felt my gut being like, should I just call her back really quick? She said she really needs to talk with somebody.
I think
And
a lot of women struggle with that because,
and it was stupid. Like that
yeah.
wasn't the case with this person. Sorry. I just like, but that was flooring to me to realize in my head. I literally was thinking, if I set a clear boundary because I wasn't in an okay space to listen to what she needed help with, that somehow that would mean she just wouldn't want to be friends with me.
Boundaries, I think, as I've learned about boundaries, because I didn't really know anything about setting boundaries prior to a couple of years ago. Like, I didn't know I
Right.
could give myself permission to do that because as women and mothers, teachers, whatever, nurses,
Minoritized, if you're in a minoritized group.
yeah, we're used to feeling like our work equals our worth, meaning how
Mm,
much we can give to other people is our worth. And if we stop being able to give to other people, it has to be a reflection on us and where we're at. And it must be something broken inside of us that we can't offer to others. That's not true. And
right.
it's a common lie. I mean, a lot of women that I work with who are very high level women, professional, educated, like they feel like they have to say yes. And I felt the same way up until a couple of years ago. And I had to start, like, it was like choosing my health, my mental health, or saying yes to everything. And I got to the place where I was like, you know what? And I wrote a blog about this. I can't remember the title of it. You can find it on our website. I think it was called The Cracks, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
why
know.
balance matters.
Oh, Why
It's
Balance
really,
Matters. There
really
you go.
good. You can
Yeah.
go to
So
spirituallystrategic.com to read it.
one of the points that I made in that was I notice, like, when I'm watching people, like I work in healthcare, so I want to watch people that continue to elevate in their profession and go higher and higher levels of administration, or basically at a certain point you're in administration, but climbing those ranks.
Right.
I notice that the people that are the most successful, and this is not just isolated to healthcare, they say no more than anybody else. Because
Yeah,
you know why? Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have time to build their own shit. Like, that's the reality
that's
of
true.
it. If you keep saying yes to all the little mundane things that everybody else thinks is important for you to be doing, you're not going to have time for your vision, your mission, your value here on earth. Not that there can't be a balance there, but if you're constantly saying yes to like, oh, can you send this out, like mundane things that are, well, not
Mhm.
below you, but you have higher ability than that. I find that a lot of people like to toss off things that are just an inconvenience for them to people who they feel they can, or who will accept the work and always say yes.
Right.
But guess what? That's not my genius. That's not my sweet spot. Check an email isn't my sweet spot. Send an email is not my sweet spot. So if you're going to ask me to like do some of that kind of stuff, I'm not like, if you were in a position that you were constantly getting bogged down with things like email or tasky type things, but your gift and your genius actually lies in, let's say, like professional development or curriculum development
Creating
or
content.
public speaking or facilitation in a classroom, like you're not being maximized to the most of your potential, both for your organization and for yourself and your future. So like you have to say no to the things that no longer serve you. Yeah, maybe at one point those type of tasky things, that's what you were cut out to do, that's what you were knowledgeable about, and you were really efficient and good at it. But then maybe you had a growth in yourself and now you're operating at a higher level. Well, in order to stay at that level, you have to continually say no to the things that no longer serve you,
Yeah.
in order
Yep.
to get there. And one of the examples I gave in this blog was just like, how many like, I'm not just talking like successful, like they have a nice house, they have a nice whatever, they go on vacation, blah blah blah. There's levels of success, right? But for super super consistently successful people, they're not giving their time to just anybody.
Right. Right.
Like it gets to a point in life where you have to weed out some of the things that drag you down, because if you're giving, there are a lot of leeches out there who will leech onto your talents, your ideas, uh the way that you execute things, and they will use that to elevate themselves. So you have to kind of weed out those little
Right.
leeches,
Right.
and make sure that who you are and who you are showing up as in this world is a reflection of who God made you to be.
That's a word, Kara. That's a word. Um, and I
Wow, I don't
think,
even really know what I said, but good.
well, my other question would be, as we kind of wrap up here, I know we both have some things. We've got about 15 more minutes.
And we still got to share about the surprise. So
Oh
let's share
yeah.
about
Oh, how could I forget? Um, from a parenting perspective and thinking back to the excerpt that I just read, what for all the moms out there, right? And I'm thinking about moms that I see post, and this is not in judgment, but I see them post things such as, my kids are literally my world. My kids are my everything. Um, talk a little bit about how this whole this dichotomy and this dissonance of always being, and I'm not talking about infants, I'm not talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 year olds unpotty trained, all that. I'm not talking about those ages, because I think they're obviously, you have to
you
be
need
present.
that. You have to be their whole world.
Yeah, you have to
They
be there
have to
all
be
the time.
your whole
Yeah.
world. Like you
Right.
physically
And
have to.
if you can afford support, or you have family who can help you, wonderful. If you get to set those boundaries, and you should set those boundaries to still have date nights, to still, like, hopefully you can have access to people that will help you. So I'm not, disclaimer, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying for like Kara's age of kids, they're
Yeah.
10, almost 12, and 13. So once kids are becoming more independent, more self-sufficient, they're at school for the full day. So let's say like 7 and up. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you start to almost wean off that codependency, that let me not say codependency, let me say complete dependency on
Yeah.
mom or dad, or mom and mom, or dad and dad? Like, how do you like wean that off so
So I
that
think
you're
for
still
me,
open, and accessible, they know they can talk with you about anything, but you also have boundaries.
So I think for me, it was more me weaning away from them than the opposite, because they naturally hit a stride within the last year where I feel like I've given them enough freedom to operate in independence in a safe environment. And they have shown me that they can handle that and handle it well, and have really grown in their personal development from that. So it was more me being able to say, okay, this, like, okay, my kids saying no to me. Why are they saying no to me? Like, let's actually listen to their rationale, because at about 8, 9, 10 years old, they start having rationale of
Mhm.
why they think how they think. And that's fine. You should be listening to that. It shouldn't be your way or the highway. And you shouldn't be sitting there telling them how to think, how to believe, all of those things. Because even you can say that all day long, but in their heart and their mind, they're going to believe what they believe. So you are just providing like kind of a conflict that doesn't even need to be there. Like, you can, there's a difference
Mm.
between guidance, and there's a difference between that and like enforcement. Like, it's like guidance
Yeah,
is
I
like,
struggle. Well, I struggle with that of understand like when I whether it's with your kids or anybody, I still struggle and I'm not a parent yet, so obviously I don't know. This is only based on teaching experiences. I still struggle with when I see kids openly like when you give your kids an answer and you
mhm,
say no, you're not going to be able to do this. I still struggle or you ask, "Hey, please go clean up your room," or will you clean up your room? I still struggle when I see kids, any kid, blatantly, and this could be my own stuff not resolved, but blatantly just say no to their parent. I still struggle with
well,
like,
as a parent, I mean, in some situations, you do need to have some sort of consequence
right,
for those. Like, if it's you're saying no to a task, well, I always want to know, well, is there a better time that this would work for you to do this?
it's a
Because
good point.
legitimately, they're growing and they're tired just like us. They have emotions just like us. Sometimes they literally just need to rest.
Yeah, maybe they had a tough
And
day.
so me telling them to clean their room when they walk in at 3:30 in the afternoon after a long day of school is probably not ideal, and I will be met with resistance.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure that even if I want that done, I can say it like, when would be a good time for you to clean your room? This needs to be
Mm,
done by tomorrow at this time. So anytime from now till then you have, but by then it needs to be done. So instead of
mm.
like like acting as a commandeer and saying like it has to be done this way, my way or the highway, for
You've given
myself, it
structured
works.
guidelines, structured
Yeah.
guidelines.
Yeah. And does it always work? No. And do we have fallout sometimes? Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And then do we have things taken away like phones and extra things that aren't essential to daily living?
Right,
Yes.
right,
Privileges. And you get privileges if you are doing the things to get you privileges, which in our
right,
house are maybe different than other houses.
right.
But as far as, yeah, that relationship I see that women have with their kids, as they start hitting this age where you need to start thinking of weaning off them. I'm going to say
Mhm.
that because it's not your kid's responsibility. It is your responsibility as a mother and a parent and a father.
Snaps, coffee house snaps.
Because, and I say this because of this, if your identity is wholly wrapped up in your children and their lives, you have the potential to have the, first of all, the biggest disappointments. Because if you are so wrapped up and tied to what they're doing and their success and their value in life, it puts them in a very compromised position to always be performative to please you, first of
Yep.
all. And that's not how we want our kids, right? We want our kids to be happy, healthy, thriving people who are independent and able to function in the world. So if you raise them in a way where you're constantly feeding them answers, and I'm saying this because I struggle with this and I work on this often.
Mhm,
I work
same.
on this within my marriage because my husband is very good at this and he has taught me a lot about like allowing the kids certain freedoms that are very uncomfortable for me to allow
Right.
um in different ways. So I am saying this as a person who has struggled with this.
Same.
But like when you're looking at the spectrum of say like junior high to high school years, if you're vicariously living through your child, what do you think is going to happen when they're out of your home? When at 18, 19, 20 years old, they're like, okay, see ya. I found this better. This is better for me over here. I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
A lot of women, and I see this a lot in women in our parents' age bracket who did the same, like they put all their eggs in the basket of their kids. And then when that kid goes off and flies away, they're like, "Oh, well wait, who am I? Like what do I do now?" Like I just spent the last 15, 18, 20 years with my whole life like just centered around this entity that was never mine.
Yeah, I was gonna
It was
add.
never mine to
Yeah,
own.
I was gonna add
And
really
now who
quick.
am I? Yeah.
I was going to add when you first started everything, I agree with completely. The one thing I wanted to point out to people too is that we also sometimes make the assumption, if you're a parent, you make that and I see people doing this. This is just from observation. You are operating as if you own your kids, as if they aren't people of their own outside of you. And unfortunately, that also leads to this detrimental type behavior of either living vicariously through them or like hinging your self-worth and your value and who you are on your kids' success or downfalls,
Or trying to
right?
control
Or
their
trying to
success.
control the outcomes of their lives or what you think is best for them. And unfortunately, it's like, again, you never owned them in the first place. They weren't yours to control in the first place, because what that does is you've actually created an idol, a false god out of your own children.
Yep.
And that is not our role. Like, if you're gifted the opportunity to be a parent, it's because God decided to bless you with those specific kids. And maybe it's for your own growth in your own life. Maybe that was the sole purpose that you gave birth to this particular son or daughter, because they were supposed to teach you something about life.
Well, and
But yet
also
we never, like, it goes back to power and
your
that whole
ultimate
idea of what I control.
your ultimate responsibility with that child is to get them into adulthood living independently of you,
And healthy,
successfully and healthy and happy.
emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically
So
healthy.
if you have this grip for the first 18, 20 years, and then all of a sudden they fly out, like how do you think that's going to feel to you? And how do you think that's going to feel to them? It's
And
going
in
to feel like
one way I'll
lonely.
say that feels, one way that can feel is like you've been lied to your whole life, and there's literally a million things that you've never known about or experienced, and you're learning those things in very, very difficult ways
Yep.
because nobody was honest enough to just tell you the truth.
Yep.
And so
On that note,
ooh, well, like the changing of, do you remember Days of Our Lives? What was the, like
yeah.
sands through,
So the days of our
like
lives.
sands through an hourglass. So these are the days of our lives. And so, like the changing tides of the moon cycles, we've prepared. Oh, someone's in my waiting room already. We gotta go. We've prepared an extra special gift. It's okay. It's all right. It's Augie. Maybe
Okay.
we'll bring him on the podcast momentarily here.
No,
We'll
no,
put him on
no,
blast.
no, no.
No, we won't. We won't. He might not be ready. But go ahead. Go ahead. It's my co-author, listeners. He's in the
Do you
waiting room,
have
but he
can you
can
pull up a
wait.
visual real quick for listeners
Yes, you talk
or
through
for
it because
watchers,
you're the
viewers?
visionary. You're the visionary
Okay.
behind it. I just try to put in the nuts and bolts and screws to keep it together. That's all. That's how Kara and I work sometimes. A lot of
Yeah.
times, probably.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Talk through your
Okay.
vision, visionary,
Well,
while I pulled it up.
so this started as a PDF, okay? This started as an idea for a PDF file that we would have you purchase and then download. And it was like a great idea. So now we're actually like publishing an ebook and a physical book, which is amazing. Where was I just saying this the other day? I said in the next year or so, this would be a dream to have as a physical copy. But somehow we wrapped it up in the last week and a half, and here we go. Bam, we have well, our book is going to be available soon. It's coming through final stages of editing, etc. The ebook
The
is going to
actual
be,
physical, like you can hold
yeah,
it
you can write in it.
publication. Yeah.
Ooh, which is really exciting. The ebook is going to be valuable as well, but I would highly recommend the physical book if you can.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a journal slash calendar slash gardening tool. Um, so we created this um book. I'm going to call it a book. Uh, it is a book.
It's a book, it's
I'm
a
sorry. This
resource.
is all very like weird and surreal to me. But anyhow, we wanted to give something that I practice and I've always practiced for about the last 15 years of having a garden is using the moon favorable gardening dates that the Farmer's Almanac puts out. And they put it out and they have this really tiny little chart and it's really difficult to read. So what I've done is kind of extracted the dates and put them in a more visually appealing layout. We've got different things. And actually, Justine, I caught an error right there. Unfortunately, we're
I
gonna have to
did
go back.
too.
Yeah.
I was afraid to tell you because I'm like,
It's okay because
oh
I'm pretty sure the cover needs a little revamp too. So it's
no.
okay.
Okay.
I ordered a proof. The proof is meant to have in physical copy so that we can do any editing that we have in real life, and then we'll get an actual first edition out to you guys. So it's going to be available on Amazon. The moon favorable first. Okay, that's hard to see that for a second. The moon favorable planting dates I have divided up by region, and these are just suggestions. You don't like if we're already almost midway through March, so by the time people get this, we actually have this particular portion of it in free PDF form, which we're going to
Yeah.
put out as an offer, so you guys have access to this ahead of time. But if you buy the book, we have some journaling room, we have some
Mhm.
actual calendar pages that get you through the rest of the year, so you can plan your weeding routine. You can write down recipes. Like you can use it as
It
whatever
takes
tool
you
that you want.
I will also say it takes you all through 2021. So whether you go with the ebook or the print version is going to be beautiful. It's over 60 pages because we have lists, we have graphic organizers, ways that you can just brain dump ideas, goals, etc. in whatever way you like. Because Kara and I both love stuff like that, but we both process very differently. So you're going to see elements of both of that. Then there's also the actual full calendar. So you can carry this with you. It's not a cumbersome text, but you can carry it with you and jot down journal notes. You can refer to your calendar if you still like physically holding something like that, which we know people in our age range do. We love the technology, but we also like having physical copies of things too. I also particularly again, if you're like, well, I don't live in a big space like Kara, I'm big on this because I love learning about the moon cycles and the spirituality and astrology aspect of it. So you're also going to get a lot of information where even if you're like, well, I live in a 500 square foot apartment like you too, Justine. Um, don't worry. Like, first of all, I grow stuff. I do have a deck area and I grow stuff every summer, whether it's herbs or certain plants. But I love how Kara has, again, she has done the laborious work of looking through the actual Farmer's Almanac and the moon cycles to let you know whether you're in mid America, the Pacific Northwest, the South, or in Southern California, kind of Southwest, when the most favorable planting dates are. This 4-pager also, I think within it we also have, when you go into our freebie section, we do have a full moon meditation, a guided meditation that we put in there for you all. But anyways, just go explore. We have that as well as the pre-order link of the book. And then finally, you will also see a brand new subscription that will have different videos of actually using these in season plants and vegetables called the Glam Gourmet. It's a monthly subscription with recipes. We'll be putting videos. I'll be showing, like right now, I have some videos I want to put in there on growing sprouts in your small ass apartment, like I do, because it is super, super simple, but also super healthy. So, anyways, go check it out. The link that
Can you pull up the Glam Gourmet real quick?
oh, yes.
So this is going to be a subscription offering. You essentially get 15 recipes every month. They're curated from Pinterest, and basically it'll be an online format. So you can get in the document every month that you receive it, and you can click on these recipes. I've curated them from different chefs and home cooks around the country, and we're going to be sending out recipes that are seasonally appropriate, and most people would have freshly available farm to table in or garden to table in their region. So there's there's an opportunity to learn, I guess, about
Mhm.
seasonal gardening and things like that. And as well, I'll be cooking up some recipes from scratch just on my own to give you guys some ideas on how to use different ingredients from your garden. You'll be getting at least one cooking show video from me a month, along with that.
Oh,
So
I'll be sprinkling my little stuff. And what I am also probably more apt to do, quite frankly, viewers and listeners, is to also put in there things like this beautiful book that Kara gifted me at Christmas, and actual different pictures and videos of me trying those recipes,
yeah.
because I love a good solid hard copy of books. But we've also made the way how this is laid out is so super simple for you to click through and select from those 15 recipes, because we also understand how in your busyness of life, even that can feel overwhelming to go like search on Pinterest, and then
And then you get
they've
stuck
already
in the
been
casserole
curated.
lane.
They have
I've
been
been there
tried.
before.
They have been tried and or curated by us. So like we're taking that hassle out and also aligning it to what's actually in season. So when you're inside the subscription every month, each edition is going to look like this. So this is just for March. Ooh, I loaded up on strawberries and spinach this week and radishes. Oh, I am rocking it. Okay, sorry. And actually mushrooms too. Okay, so when you're inside of here, this is what it looks like. You can click on here to order the Lunar Garden or here to listen to our podcast. We always put that out there for you all because we love to share. And then once you get inside your subscription, you're going to see the March 2021 edition. And that is going to have our audio intro and what's included in this month's subscription, as well as a bonus, a heart mind connection. We know that if you're nourishing your body, we want you to nourish your soul and your mind as well. And then you're going to get into it here, right? So this is this month's recipes, and look, when you see this icon, just get excited because you can click straight to the recipe that has already been curated from what's in season. So I just love it. We're super excited to share this with you all because it's what we're living out right now. So anyways, we have put the link in the notes. Comment below different recipes or different things you're looking for, or things that you like about this. But you can also visit bit.ly. It's just a short link, bit.ly, if you're listening, /the Lunar Garden. And it'll take you directly to the page to interact with ordering the book, ordering the ebook.
We'll link it below too in the video.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said, you can click on it. You just come over here. Oh, there it is.
What's cool about it too is if you're into Pinterest, you can take those individual pins and pin them to a special board for like clean eating or whatever. So I'm excited about it. It's gonna have a different look every month to go with the seasons. I love seasonal changing, and maybe we'll even add some beauty and fashion eventually to that. I would love.
It's all
love that.
holistic,
Yeah.
holistic to help us and help you all live our best lives here on earth. So Sister, I gotta go. I gotta go to my next meeting, but thank you all for tuning in. Both listeners, please leave us a review on Apple. Be sure that you share this out, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, sister.
Bye, sister.